Never mind that the entire operation was a clearinghouse for items stolen up and down the East Side. These creatures protected their own. 2 other shopkeepers heeded the Leatherman's call, and the chase, I regret to say, began in earnest. A greasy hand reached for my wrist. I twisted away, slamming into the rock-hard gut of a man who sold lace. He leered at me, almost licking his lips, and I slipped under his arm before he closed it around my neck and ran. They came after me, shoving shoppers and upending pushcarts and threatening unspeakable acts of violence against my person. These men had grown fat selling stolen goods, but I take 1 glove, not even a pair, but a single glove, and they threatened to remove my skin, tan it, and wear me as a coat. They were bloodthirsty and determined, those 3 shopkeepers, but I am small and passably nimble and have spent my life running from bullies. I leapt over a family sleeping on the sidewalk, darted through a beer hall emptying after the lunchtime rush, and slipped through the alley toward Bleecker. When I was a child, these alleys were empty, but since the city was sliced in half, whole families have crowded into them, packed into ragged tents or huddling under the awnings of all-night oyster houses. The sun was blotted out by the makeshift shelters on the top floors of the tenements, where flimsy structures of 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 stories held apartments built of stolen timber and bedsheets that hung limp in the tepid September breeze. I ran down the narrow strip of pavement, dodging outstretched limbs and sleeping children. The shopkeepers burst out of the beer hall and called after me. My mouth burned with the taste of metal. For that matter, my legs burned too. I kept running. The stink of fish faded as I stepped onto Broadway, crowded and gleaming and smelling of money and judgment, and the fence blocked my path. Even in the punishing glare of the sun, it was a dark thing. 30 feet of wrought iron topped by sharpened spikes, stretching up the middle of the avenue, dividing the healthy East Side from the deserted West. In the middle was a little door guarded by a little man whose uniform buttons sparkled in the light. I danced through the sludgy traffic and slammed against the iron. "Open the gate," I said, flashing my license. A half-witted smile spread across chapped lips. "Just what business has a nice young lady like you got on the West Side?" he said. "Personal and urgent." "I guess you're from out of town. I can't let you through this door without a chaperone, and even then I would advise against it. Things over there are, well, peculiar." "I live on the West Side. I work on the West Side, and I have a Class C permit which allows crossing the fence any time during normal business hours. So let me through." He draped his jaundiced fingers across my shoulder and tried to look concerned. The leather man stepped off the sidewalk and waded into traffic, howling for blood. "You know, miss, you stepped through that door. The city cannot guarantee your safety." "Remove your hand from my shoulder, or I will bite the knuckles to the bone." "Oh, miss," he said, as disappointed as if his favorite terrier had just turned rabid. "Very well. Proceed at your own risk." The shopkeeper and his friends fought 2 or 3 ill-defined lanes of automobiles, pushcarts, and horse carts, screaming for the gateman to stop. He was too preoccupied with the mechanism of the gate to pay them any mind. The squat iron door eased open. The leather man leapt, and his fingers brushed my shoulder as I threw myself through the gate. Damp moss broke my fall. Broadway was muffled by the sound of falling water. A silver cataract cascaded down the crumbling facade of an abandoned tenement, pouring over broken windows, splashing onto the moss-blanketed street and rushing into the gutter.